if you're anything like me, you've been literally just sitting doing nothing for the entire summer, and I promised myself that I would not sit in my room all summer and do nothing, especially as it's nice weather. I had a lot of time early because I finished my exams early, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to be productive this summer. And have I been? No, absolutely not. So I've made a list of 36 specifically things that you can do during summer. Hopefully there are a few that you haven't thought of on here. I feel like there are a lot of generic ones, but I've tried to find some that are a bit less general. The first one is a pretty basic one, but learning a new hobby. And there are so many options for this. There are so many different hobbies you can pick up and learn, or even if you want to like develop a specific hobby. Like for me, I crochet a lot, but I don't do it very well. For me, my goal this summer is to learn how to crochet a bit better. There's also knitting, drawing, anything like that. I don't know if you can see the tan line I have here. It's an atrocious tan line, but if you can see that, I'm sorry. The second one is definitely a big one for me, and that's to finish your TBR, so all the books that you want to read. For me, I get gifted a lot of them for my birthday and Christmas, and they just kind of like pile up on my shelves. And I feel like summer is the ideal time to get through them all and read more. The next one I literally never see people talking about, but that's doing any kind of like chalk drawings. You can literally just do like really simple designs with chalk, and it looks really cool, it's really fun, and it's a very enjoyable activity, I think, and it can definitely like use up your time. The next one is another one that's really ideal for summer in a lot of ways, and that's starting YouTube or a TikTok account. I can speak from experience on this one. I have both a YouTube and a TikTok, but I don't really use my TikTok as much. I mainly focus on YouTube, but it is such a fun thing to do if you enjoy like filming and editing, everything like that. I love YouTube. It's like my main hobby, and you can find loads and loads of like tutorials on how to actually start a channel, on how to edit videos and thumbnails and video ideas online. There is so much help that you can get to like start doing this. You can also monetize it if that's something that you want to do, but it is just mainly a very fun thing to do. Next one is making jewelry, and this one seems like it should be really expensive, but there are a lot of different ways you can make jewelry without it being super expensive. So for me, I usually make bracelets with like the clay beads, which are really cheap if you get them in like packs off Amazon. They just come in like trays, and they have charms with them a lot of the time. You can also use like smaller beads, and they tend to be cheaper if you don't want to spend a whole lot of money on everything. You can also make the thread bracelets if you know how to like braid or do all the different patterns. Something I really want to learn how to do is when people do the like thread patterns, and they can do like album covers and designs on the thread bracelets. I think that's so cool. The next one is something that I end up doing every single summer because it just makes sense to do it in the summer. That's to organize your room or your space in general. So that could be deep cleaning it and making sure that you actually have cleaned every corner that you usually ignore, or just organizing like your drawers and your wardrobe, anything like that. For me, I know that during the school year everything gets very disorganized in my room, so summer is like my chance to reset everything and put everything back in its place. The next one is practicing new makeup. This one I always feel like I would like to do but never have the time to, and there are so many tutorials on YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, everything on different types of makeup looks, different like ways to do it, different products to use. There are so many opportunities for this one, and there are so many different ways that you can go about it. The next one is gardening or growing a new plant. I know my family's been doing like strawberries and flowers in our garden. We've been growing those in the summer. I honestly don't know anything about gardening. It is definitely not my area of expertise. I suck at gardening. I cannot keep a plant alive for the life of me, but I think it is a very time-consuming thing if it's something that you want to do over summer, so it definitely makes sense. I feel like a pretty standard one is doing Lego during the summer. I've had the flower like Lego sets in my room for ages, just sitting in my cupboard, and I was saving them for summer just to do them, so I have like a Lego vase of flowers right now. Obviously the bigger Lego projects are so expensive. Like I've genuinely seen Lego sets for like £500, and that's like the lower end of it. Like they can get to really extreme prices, but I feel like the smaller sets are pretty cheap in contrast, and it's definitely something you can think about and like immerse yourself in. Next one is definitely not going to apply to everyone because some people will absolutely hate this. Writing like a fake story or something like that, or like an article, depending on what you like to write. For me, I haven't written in ages, but I used to write so much. Like I used to write different things all the time when I was younger, and that's definitely something that I'd like to do during the summer. And also it gives you a chance to develop that skill of writing. The next one is to either learn how to play a new instrument or develop your skill with a particular instrument. I think you can just see behind me my guitar. That has not been played properly in at least 2 years because I knew how to play it at one point and then I've completely forgotten because I gave up like a few years ago. And I feel like that's a pretty universal experience for a lot of people. So if there is some instrument that's been laying around your room and you just can't play it properly, I feel like you have enough time in summer to learn all the chords and songs and how to play it and everything. Again, there are loads of YouTube tutorials and everything on how to play guitar. You can literally just learn to play it for free at this point. Or if you do play an instrument already and you're like good at it, learn how to play a new song. Again, there is so much like sheet music and things like that on the internet. The next one, again, is not going to apply to everyone. Definitely wouldn't apply to me. Going swimming, either like in a normal swimming pool, or if you're lucky enough to have one, a safe body of water like a lake or something like that. Again, make sure it's safe. Don't just go in any random river. I know if I went in a lot of the rivers near me, they'd be polluted, contaminated. Like, I would not come out alive. But I think depending on where you are, there may be like certain places you can go and swim. I, however, suck at swimming. I can do like the basic stuff. I can physically swim, but I'm just not that good at it. Next one is any kind of DIY craft. There are loads and loads of these on Pinterest. When I was redoing my room, I did debate doing a few of the like Pinterest DIY room decor. I see so much of it. There are so many different ideas and it's pretty accessible. You can kind of just use anything for it really. Like you can just use paper, you can use normal pens. You don't need anything specific a lot of the time. Or if you do, it's just like stuff that you would already have and you would have just thrown away. And a lot of it is like recycling things, which I think is amazing. The next one I can definitely vouch for, and that's any kind of scrapbook or journaling. I have a few journals that I have been like doing over the years. I do like junk journaling, so I just keep like receipts and wrappers, packaging, anything like that from like my everyday life, and I just put it together in a big book, and that for me is really fun. But there are so many different ways you can do this. Like I said, you make a scrapbook. You can also just do like the writing form of journaling, like you can literally just keep a diary. Next one is one of my biggest goals for this summer, and that's to travel to all the surrounding areas. This again kind of depends on where you are, and there are usually loads and loads of like bus and train services to so many different places, and a lot of areas will do schemes where like if you're under 18 or under 25, you can do a lot of different things for cheaper. You can go a lot more places. Again, it depends on where you are. Similar to the reading kind of idea, finishing every movie that's been on your list. For me, I know I have a list on my letterbox of all the movies that I've been wanting to watch, and I haven't gotten around to watching any of them as of right now. Also, YouTube have been putting more movies on for free, so they now have Perks of Being a Wallflower on there for free. They have a few other ones on there that you can just watch completely free, which is really cool, so definitely look at that. The next one is something that I have definitely been doing. You might have seen in some of my other videos, going on long walks, especially because the weather's nicer in the summer. It's really nice to just like go on walks to places you wouldn't typically go. The next one is kind of random, but it's something that I've always wanted to be able to do, and that's to learn calligraphy. I think it's just so cool to be able to put like that kind of calligraphy design on anything you write, and I think in general knowing how to do calligraphy gives you better handwriting, if that makes sense. I feel like everyone who can do calligraphy has amazing handwriting. I think that's just like such a cool skill to have. The next one is also something that I've been doing quite recently, baking and trying new recipes. I love baking so much, I just can't do it. I'm terrible at it, to be completely honest, but I do love doing it and I like finding new recipes that I can do. The next one is to research a random topic. I feel like everyone has that like one topic that they're always thinking about and they think like, what's the science behind this, or like why does this do this, why does this work, things like that. I know for me I have a lot of like psychology related questions that I always think about, and again the internet has so many different ways you can find out about different things. You can watch a video on something, you can use Wikipedia. There are so many different ways to do things. Next one is to volunteer somewhere or work somewhere. I know for me it was really hard to find a job. I have a job now, but it was super hard to find one. So if you can't get a job, maybe volunteering. There are a lot of libraries and like smaller shops. During the summer there are a lot of kids clubs that do volunteering, like charity shops. There are so many different options for volunteering, and I think it's generally easier to find a volunteering position than it is to find an actual job. Next is to write a letter to your future self. I wrote a few of these when I was like 10 to 13 years old, and I look back on them now and it's just really entertaining, and it's really interesting to see what I was thinking that I would be doing by now, and it's interesting to see how my like ideas and my mindset and my goals have changed since then. So I think that's definitely a very worthwhile thing to do, and you can make it as long as you want. You can take up so much time writing a letter because you're never really going to regret it. Next one is to try new fruits. This one one I feel like is very specific to summer. There are a lot of fruits that are like really good in summer and are made to grow really well in summer. For me, I really want to try pineapple because I have not tried pineapple for like at least 5 years and I can't remember if I like it or not. So I'd really like to try new fruits and things like that. Like I said, especially because it's summer and there are so many more available now. Learning a new language or developing the skills in a language you already have. So for example, I'm doing Spanish next year, so for me I want to make sure I definitely am where I should be with all that. But I think if I wasn't learning Spanish, I think I'd learn something like French or German or something like that. And I think it's just such a fun thing to be able to like say certain phrases and describe certain things in a different language. I think like learning a language is just like such a fun thing for me, which probably doesn't apply to everyone, but I think it's definitely a nice thing to do in the summer. Next one is go to a library. No one goes to libraries anymore. Can we start going to libraries again? They're definitely an undervalued thing. They're so fun. And a lot of the time there will be like a specific book that I've been wanting to buy, wanting to read for so long, and I go into a random library and they just have it there. I think a lot of people are under the impression that libraries don't have any of the books that they're gonna like. Libraries are actually pretty up to date a lot of the time. They do have pretty modern recent books. The next one is to learn video editing. This is one that I've always been so intrigued with because I feel like people just randomly develop the skills to edit really well and I don't know where it comes from. And I'll always like listen to a song and I'll be like, oh, that would be such a fire edit. Like I could make the best edit ever. I think it'd be so cool to be able to actually do that. That would be like such a good fun skill to have. The next one is to make like a mini movie or a music video of some kind. I would love to do this, but I don't know enough people. But I always see like people go on like trips and they'll make a music video, or people will just like be at home and they'll make some kind of movie, and I think that's so cool. And you can just do it with a phone as well. You can just do it on your phone. You can look up some editing tutorials and it's just like such a fun thing to do, and you get to plan the movie, you get to like write a script if it's a dialogue kind of thing. There's just so much you can do with it and it seems so fun. The next one is kind of boring, but I feel like it's a pretty good thing to do. Create a CV. It actually surprised me how many people don't have a CV because I feel like it's just such a useful thing to just have the template of, and then when you get like new qualifications or developments that you can put on it, you can just update it really easily. I think it's such like a good base thing to have. Next one is one of my favorite things to do ever. I do this all the time. Organize or kind of redo your Pinterest. My Pinterest is still kind of everywhere, but it's kind of an organized chaos and I know what everything is. I have like boards for so many different things. I know some people have Pinterest accounts that are like color coordinated and they have like a certain vibe about them. So it's really something you can do anything with and it's so fun to do. And also I just really like going through Pinterest, so I just like being able to scroll through Pinterest. Next one is something that I've always actually wanted to do, and that's to learn new hairstyles, like how to braid and things like that. I always find it so cool when people can just do the most like intricate braids really easily. Like they'll just pop out of nowhere and they'll be like, oh yeah, I can do this braid easy. Again, there are so many tutorials online on Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. So many places do tutorials for this. Next one is 10k or 15k steps a day. I genuinely don't get how this is meant to be a thing that everyone's meant to be doing. Like I know it's like a health recommended thing that you're meant to get 10k steps a day. No average person is doing 10k steps every single day without fail. I think that's just a bit insane. But I feel like in summer you can kind of like aim to do a certain amount of steps a day because you can like get out and you have a lot of free time and things like that. I think yesterday I did like 11k, which is something I never do because I'm usually like stuck at a desk for the entire day, so that was nice. Again, like I said, the weather's nicer now, so it's something you can actually do. Pretty similar to that one. A workout or like going to a gym is a good use of time. You can get like home workouts just on YouTube, or you can go to a gym. A million different ways you can do this. You can also just like go on a run, go on a walk. It doesn't need to be fancy. Next one is fruit picking. I feel like there are so many opportunities for this in the summer. Loads of places offer this in the summer. I know I've been strawberry picking. That was so fun. I love strawberry picking. And also you get to eat the fruit after, so it's kind of a win-win situation. And last but not least, trying loads of like new cafes, new locations. I love trying different cafes everywhere, especially like independent ones. I think it's so interesting to see different menus and areas and people. It's such a nice thing, and it kind of goes hand in hand with like visiting different places.